I've titled my presentation Demand Better for Patients and Survival because this is the theme of the 2017 World Pancreatic Cancer Day, which is actually this Thursday, the 16th of November. Just allow me, if you may, I assume it's the left button, start with a
World
video
Pancreatic
YouTube
Cancer Day is
Julie
November
Flack.
16th, 2017. This year's theme is Demand Better for Patients for Survival. And this year we're focusing on demanding better to learn more about the risk factors and symptoms for pancreatic cancer so we can change outcomes. And we need everyone to participate. You can go to worldpancreaticcancerday.org to learn how you can help and be a part of this important campaign. You can wear purple. You can turn buildings and monuments in your city purple. You can talk to your family and friends about the risk factors and symptoms. We have nearly 30 countries from around the world that are participating in this campaign. Help us demand better for patients for survival. Thank you so much for your participation.
Tomorrow evening, that's Wednesday evening, the night before Pancreatic Cancer Day, the Pancreatic Cancer Alliance, of which Goulburn and Purple Our World are members, has arranged for the sales of the Sydney Opera House to light up purple. Australia is actually ahead of, as you know, the world in time zones, and I think we've heard tonight that Australia is probably ahead of the world in some of the research towards solving some of the issues on pancreatic cancer. And the research has been undertaken both here in Goulburn and at many other research centres throughout Australia. Julie Fleshman, who you just saw on the YouTube, who's the chairman of the World Pancreatic Cancer Coalition, and I'll say a bit more about that later. When I announced in May at the Coalition annual meeting in Montreal that we were able to secure the sales of the Sydney Opera House to be lit up purple, her words were, "It's going to be just like the fireworks on New Year's Eve. The Aussies are kicking off the global campaign in style. There is absolutely no more iconic building in the world than the Sydney Opera House." I see my role tonight to provide you with an insight in what is happening in the advocacy space. And I'm sure pancreatic cancer has no boundaries that affects so many of us. And maybe some of you have lost a dear loved one to pancreatic cancer like I have. Rochelle, my wife of 34 years, died of pancreatic cancer, aged 57, on the 3rd of August 2014, 16 months after diagnosis. I would appreciate your indulgence to allow me a few minutes to relate our personal story and the story behind my family's social media movement called Purple Our World. Rochelle's endocrinologist was very concerned when her sugar levels went extremely high all of a sudden. At first, the cause could not be determined, but the gastroenterologist discovered a cancerous tumour on the pancreas. Initially, we were told it was operable, but with the removal of the whole pancreas. A marvellous surgeon by the name of Dr. Hagigi, who may or may not be known to some of you here, assured us that she can actually live without a pancreas. But after further testing, we were told that the cancer was inoperable, that Rochelle had only months to live, and that her treatment would involve making her life as comfortable as possible. Rochelle was extremely brave, undergoing 16 months of treatment, 13 rounds of chemotherapy, 10 rounds of intensive radiation, numerous drains of excess fluid from the abdomen, 4 separate operations, 3 unsuccessful, to insert a stent into the bile duct. Right through this horrible period, Rochelle, although facing inevitable death, maintained a wonderful spirit, saying to our family and friends, "I want to make wonderful memories for you." And she did. She had 20 months with our first grandson, special holidays with the family, engagement party and wedding of my youngest daughter, who's here tonight, and she celebrated her mother's 80th birthday. Rochelle was fiercely loyal to family and friends, funny and generous. She was a social butterfly who never gave up the opportunity to party. She had an infectious laugh and could always make everybody smile, even on her darkest days. And when it came to the cancer, she was most definitely a fighter. She was determined not to let the disease take her lying down. On a good day, she would make a point of living her life as normally as possible. By far, her favourite thing was to care for our grandson. Rochelle was determined for us to continue living and enjoying life as well. She used to say, "Have your cry for 10 minutes. Now let's go and do something special together." But privately, when there was only the two of us, when we were alone, she would say, "Why me? Why am I going to die? Why am I not going to hold all my grandchildren?" She also said, "I wish I had breast cancer," knowing that recovery, and at least remission, was possible. Rochelle's story is far from unique. When Rochelle was diagnosed, we didn't even know what a pancreas was. And we found out that most people didn't know either. So last year, Purple Our World prepared this YouTube.
A machine. A type of medicine. Something that you can touch. A spaceship. A bird. A dinosaur. Grass. A ninja turtle. It's either a muscle in your body or it's a type of organ. A gland behind the stomach that's pretty small and doesn't do a massive part.
Recent research by the Goulburn Research Foundation has revealed that only 15% of Australians are aware of pancreatic cancer. It's an alarming statistic, given that pancreatic cancer is the 5th most common cause of cancer deaths in Australia. Allow me to quote Professor David Thomas, head of the Goulburn Cancer Research Division. Goulburn's Pancreatic Cancer Awareness Index confirms that we have known for years that pancreatic cancer is not ranked in the minds of Australians as a cancer that needs to be prioritised for research. Professor Thomas goes on to state, although Goulburn's pancreatic cancer research teams now have the unparalleled technological ability to undertake whole genome sequencing on pancreatic tumours, and we heard a bit about that tonight, a greater consumer awareness is needed to raise the investment needed for the research teams to leverage its full potential. 3 months after Rochelle passed away, the family had a breakfast for our extended family and friends on World Pancreatic Cancer Day, the first one in November 2014. We asked our friends and family to wear something purple, post a selfie or a photo on social media using the hashtag #PurpleOurWorld. We had 3 weeks to drum up a campaign we'd hope would spread awareness, ensure others knew that we were not alone, and that we'd serve as a bit of therapy for the family. Our message took a life of its own. The hashtag had thousands of hits from all over the world. We were simply amazed at what we had achieved. Our little backyard operation to honour Rochelle, our wife, our mother, our sister, had turned into much more than a simple gesture. So we created Purple Our World as simply a social media movement. Right from the beginning, we decided not to be a charity, but rather partner with the 4 existing organisations that are already doing wonderful work, raising much needed funds for pancreatic cancer research, one of which is the Goulburn Research Foundation, the UPNA Pancreatic Cancer Foundation, the GI Cancer Institute, or as it's sometimes called, the Australian Gastrointestinal Trial Group, and the Pancare Foundation. Purple Our World's raison d'etre was simply to make as much noise as possible about this horrible disease and to make the world start talking about it. In short, to make purple the new pink. We enlisted ambassadors, well-known media personality Tracy Spicer and NRL legend Robbie Farah, both of whom had lost their mothers to pancreatic cancer. We secured support from corporates, ANZ, IAG, Qantas, Pearson's Florist, Ramsay Health Care, all of who continue to raise awareness of pancreatic cancer through their intranets. Racino Gelato, across the road here in Darlinghurst, once again is making and selling a Purple Our World gelato this week. So if you hear a Garvin, wander up, get an ice cream, take a selfie, post it on your social using the hashtag WPCD. Westfield came on board last year. You may have been among the 1.5 million people who walked past the World Pancreatic Cancer Day 10-second graphics on the 1,000 display screens in all 300 centres around Australia. And here is their display. So please pop into a Westfield on Thursday, take a selfie standing next to the display, post it on Facebook, Instagram or Twitter using the hashtag WPCD. All Westfield centres in the US and the UK are also doing the same this year, including the World Trade Center in New York. In November 2011, at New South Wales Parliament House, the then New South Wales Minister for Health, Julian Skinner, launched the Australian Pancreatic Cancer Alliance, which has as its members the Garvin, the UVNA Pancreatic Cancer Foundation, PanCare, and the GICI, and also Cancer Australia and ourselves. Tracy Spicer is our patron. The Alliance is committed to raising awareness of pancreatic cancer with a long-time view of supporting a much-needed medical research, and the idea is about collaboration rather than competition. We strongly believe that working together we will be much more powerful, especially when dealing with high-profile stakeholders and government bodies. Each individual organisation has something new and different to bring to the table, whether it's awareness, research, clinical trials, patient care or fundraising. Earlier this year, I prepared a submission on behalf of the Alliance to the Senate Select Committee on funding for low survival rate cancers. And in June, we were asked to appear in person, and we did so with Marina Pajic, Dr. Marina Pajic, who you've heard from tonight, Barry Westhorpe, who's the CEO of the PanCare Foundation, and we informed the senators of the very low survival rate of pancreatic cancers and the extremely low level of funding for research in this area. The senators were very polite and sincerely thanked us for educating them about the disease. But hopefully pancreatic cancer is now on the government's radar, and I can assure you the Alliance will continue to advocate and lobby government to allocate more funding to pancreatic cancer research. The global scene. In 2016, the UVNA Pancreatic Cancer Foundation, PanCare Australia and our group, Purple Our World, were invited to become foundation members of the World Pancreatic Cancer Coalition. In May this year, I attended the second annual meeting of the Coalition, and the Coalition has now grown to 64 advocacy organisations from 30 countries. Through global collaboration, the Coalition raises awareness and coming together strengthens the efforts of all member organisations that simply want to improve the survival rates and reverse the current lack of funding for research into pancreatic cancer. The Coalition organises the World Pancreatic Cancer Day, and the Purple Our World sits on the Pancreatic Cancer Day Steering Committee. If I may, another YouTube.
Join us on November 16th for World Pancreatic Cancer Day.
11月6日、世界膵臓がんデーです。参加してください。
Please join us on November the 16th for World Pancreatic Cancer Day.
Show us your purple Rejoignez-nous le 16 novembre pour la Journée mondiale de lutte contre le cancer du pancréas.
Únete el 16 de noviembre al Día Mundial contra el Páncreas.
Join us on November 16th for World Pancreatic Cancer Day.
Every day, 1,000 people worldwide are diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. 985 of them will die. So the take home from this video and this slide is that we're not alone. There is a worldwide movement to raise awareness and promote research, which we hope will lead to higher survival rates. There is no such thing as a good cancer. But I just get a little upset when I see the world go pink for breast cancer and blue for prostate cancer. By the way, if you join pink and blue, you get purple. Both these common cancers have a 5-year survival rate. We heard earlier at 88%. As I say, the statistics and the statistics. My statistic for breast cancer is the one I've found is 93% survival rate for breast cancer, but call it 90, plus or minus. Melanoma now has about 90. Colorectal, about 70. Why? Because these cancers have either some form of screening or early detection, or sophisticated prevention programs, slip, slop and slap. Secondly, they have a general awareness amongst the general public and a very good education of frontline medical practitioners. Purple Our World is convinced that the high survival rate of these better understood and better known cancers is simply because of effective screening and early detection. One of the catchphrases is, find it early and survive. You may, if I may, I'd like to show you another YouTube from the World Pancreatic Cancer Coalition. Detection. Let me remind you of some of the Australian statistics. Pancreatic cancer is an extremely low 7 to 8% 5-year survival rate. Compare that to the more common cancers, breast and so on, where it's over 90%. What's more important is that that 7 or 8% hasn't really improved for over 30 years. In 2017, there'll be 3,200 cases of pancreatic cancer diagnosed. Most frightening part is the 2,900 deaths. Not like other cancers, these numbers are increasing, not decreasing. The average survival period of pancreatic cancer sufferers is only 6 to 8 months. The survival period is measured in weeks, usually months, very rarely years. Pancreatic cancer in Australia is now the 5th highest of all cancer deaths and is predicted very soon to exceed the number of breast cancer deaths. Pancreatic cancer symptoms are very common in many non-life-threatening illnesses. Loss of appetite, nausea, unexpected weight loss, abdominal or back pain, indigestion, new onset diabetes, especially not associated with weight gain but only weight loss, and jaundice. These symptoms are very often vague. Let's face it, on average, a GP will see one case of pancreatic cancer per year. So therefore, there needs to be a significant improvement in the education amongst GPs. Pancreatic cancer is often called the forgotten cancer. We actually prefer to call it a neglected cancer. Based on the latest figures available, Cancer Australia, the Australian government coordinating body on all things cancer, has determined that an extremely low percentage of all cancer research funding in Australia is directed towards pancreatic cancer, although it is the 5th highest cause of death. This low percentage is increasing slowly, and the research community is making great progress, as we've heard tonight, on the modest funding, but much, much more needs to be done. For the sufferers of pancreatic cancer and the hundreds of thousands of people throughout the world who are affected by the loss of a family member or a friend to this hideous disease, I'm asking for your help. We need you to use your social media, that is your Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, to tell who will ever listen about the low survival rates of pancreatic cancer. Tell them about the short lifespan of those diagnosed. Tell them about the lack of research funding being directed. I ask you to be active in making the community understand that in all likelihood, if you are diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, the odds are definitely against you. I ask you to like the Purple Our World, the Pancreatic Cancer Alliance, the World Pancreatic Cancer Coalition on Facebook and Instagram, and of course retweet whatever you find. We need the message to go viral. Purple Our World has created an app which can be downloaded to your phone. You don't have to go to the App Store. We invite you, if you're involved in business or corporates, please use your intranet to inform your staff. Please just keep talking about pancreatic cancer, even over coffee or at dinner with friends. We need all of you to dress in purple on Thursday. Take a selfie or post it with the hashtag WPCD and comment, "I demand better for sufferers of pancreatic cancer," or "I demand better refunding for research into pancreatic cancer." What we ask is that you go out and make a lot of noise about this very silent killer. When you arrive at your workplace on Thursday, tell your colleagues and everyone why you are dressed in purple and that Thursday is World Pancreatic Cancer Day. Tell them about the low survival rates. Tell them about the low percentage of research funding. Tell them the average lifespan of 6 to 8 months. Allow me to summarise. From increased awareness, you get community engagement, which leads to increased funding for research. And we demand better for the sufferers of pancreatic cancer. There's some handles that you may find interesting or useful with respect to Facebook, Twitter and Instagram. Thanks sincerely for listening and for your presence here today and your interest in pancreatic cancer. And above all else, I thank you for your future support. If you wish to use any of the YouTubes that I have shown you today on your social channels, they can be found on the World Pancreatic Cancer website, the newsroom tab, or just email info@purpleourworld.com, and our social media guru, who's Jess, my daughter, will email you back whatever you need. Thank you very, very much.